Hey, how we doing? Great. Exciting day. Thank you. Yeah. Mayor, thank you so much for being here. Yeah. And all the great photos. Can't wait till we build it.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to start with opening statements. Oakland A's President Dave Kaval is going to start, and then we will open it up to the other, and then we will have Q&A.
Well, I want to welcome everyone. It's obviously a very exciting day for the Oakland A's. We have an amazing and powerful vision for a new waterfront stadium at Howard Terminal and also a redevelopment of the Coliseum. I'm really thankful that the mayor, the council president, Larry Reed, Seth Butner, Nate Miley are on stage with me today to work together on this exciting project. So thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to taking questions. Do you guys want to?
No.
Okay. No. Any? Okay. Yeah.
We have the microphone right there.
Cool.
Sorry, Scott. Dave, Janie McCauley from AP. About a year ago, we were here for the Kelly Green unveiling of the jerseys, and you were kind of looking out your office window and envisioning this potential. What were some of the steps to finally deciding on this site being the one?
You know, we've always liked the idea of a waterfront, downtown, urban location for a ballpark. With the 81 days that baseball provides for home games, it really is the best and most conducive environment for success, both on and off the field, to attract fans, to have an amazing fan experience, and to have a positive impact on the community. You know, the types of economic activity, jobs, and other activities that come from an urban downtown location is really the highest and kind of best use of that. And so in working with the city and with the county and all the different officials here, we embarked on that plan over the last year. We did a tremendous amount of community engagement where we listened to people in West Oakland, in East Oakland. And I think what we found was that this project is bigger than baseball. It's not just a ballpark. It's something that could have a lasting impact in a positive way on our community here in Oakland to ensure the A's are here for another 50 or 100 years, or really basically forever. And so for us, you know, that is why we chose the site down on the waterfront. We feel that we have a really bold and iconic design with BRK Ingalls Group, and we're excited to advance that and get some shovels in the ground and build it by 2023.
So I'm not clear on this, Dave, but the A's are buying the Coliseum site and doing the developing on that also?
Well, we have two projects that we're proposing. You know, one is at the Coliseum site, which is an adaptive reuse of the Coliseum itself and bringing jobs and housing and other community benefits to that region. And then we have the waterfront location where we're proposing the actual ballpark. So they're two separate projects. You know, they're both important for, I think, the city, and they allow us to really honor East Oakland and make sure that, you know, that part of the city also participates in the success of this project.
But I'm still not clear. You have already bought the Coliseum site and you're ready to go?
No.
You're hoping
to.
No.
We are in conversations with the city and the county on the Coliseum property. We worked with the city on an E&A that was executed in May, and we continue that process, and we look forward to a positive resolution on that.
Yeah, and let me further expand on that. I'm County Supervisor Nate Miley, and I'm also the chair of the Joint Powers Authority for the Coliseum and the arena. The county, we've been in conversations with the A's for quite a long time on the A's acquiring our interest in the property at the Coliseum and the arena site. And as a result of the A's acquiring our interest, those details are still being worked out. Then the A's would step into the county's position, working with the city to develop that location and ensure the eventual development of the property at Howard Terminal.
Okay. And Dave, one more thing.
Can I just add, simultaneously also the city and the county are negotiating the city buying out the county's interest, and those talks actually took a very positive turn this very week, and so that is another path towards simplifying the ownership structure of the Coliseum land so that a development can happen.
And as far as the Howard Terminal, you've bought that, you're leasing it, you're working on an agreement, or you have it?
We signed an exclusive negotiating agreement with the port, and Seth is here representing the port and the Port Commission, and that process is about halfway through, and we hope to have an actual option agreement in the first quarter of next year.
But I don't have anything right now.
We're in negotiation right now. We had entered into the ENA about 4 or 5 months ago, and we're working on that right now.
So you understand they're in an agreement, so it's like we're dating exclusively.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're not looking anywhere else. But we're in a courtship right now, and so that's the period under which we actually develop the details of a potential actual development.
And I
So
think-
so you will have many more opportunities for us to have these conversations together again. This is really a really gorgeous starting line.
And I think the significant thing is, the A's are positioning themselves as Oakland's team. With both the Raiders leaving and the Warriors leaving, the A's are Oakland's team.
Yeah, do you want to explain what you're going to be doing with the stadium, the Coliseum as it stands? Who's going to tear it down and transform it into the amphitheater that you're talking about? How's that going to happen?
Well, we're still in the process of negotiating that with the county and the city, but the adaptive reuse plan that we presented as one of our 2 projects is something that the A's are willing to undertake as part of the larger effort here in Oakland, and we think that could be a very exciting process. We got a lot of input from the community to kind of achieve or arrive on that as a plan that we think can make sense. But like the mayor said, this is a point where we still need to solicit additional community feedback. We still need to finalize the negotiations and make sure we do it in a way that's effective for the A's and also for all the stakeholders here.
Yeah, Dave, I mean, as you just said, as you and the mayor have alluded to, we've been here before. We'll be here again. You've got a beautiful design, but a long way to go. How confident, and as we saw with the Peralta plan, things have a way of falling through. So how confident are you that this is what we'll end up seeing, and how long might it take before you actually can put a shovel in the ground?
Doug, I just want to point out this is the first time you've ever seen all of us up here together. So please just note that.
So our timeline, we're starting CEQA on Friday, which is an important step. That's the California Environmental Quality Act. That's going to take approximately 1 year. That process will be for the Howard Terminal Ballpark location. We have a 120-day action plan where our efforts are going to be focused on additional community outreach, 1, 2, an agreement with the port on our option. And so that's kind of the land deal at the Howard Terminal site. And at the same time, we're extending our conversations with the community groups to develop a robust community benefits plan that includes things like affordable housing, job benefits, local hire, union agreements, to make sure this project, like I said before, is bigger than baseball and can achieve the goals not only of the A's but of the city. So that's our next step. We hope to have CEQA done by the end of 2019. Then we have about 9 months of expedited judicial review. Luckily, the mayor and I and the rest of Rob Bonta, our assemblyman, got our AB 734 passed in August and signed by the governor, and that helps us with the timeline on CEQA judicial review. And so then we could actually have a groundbreaking in late 2020 and open the stadium by 2023. And that's the timeline we've articulated over the last year or so. We're still on that plan. This is an important step because it's important for people to understand our vision and the designs we want to move forward with, and that the ballpark will be at the waterfront location.
What's the
We have a microphone.
what's the deadline for a budget for how much this will cost, who's going to pay for what share, and when all that has to be done? Is there a drop-dead date for that yet?
Well, the ballpark's going to be 100% privately financed. We've said that from the beginning. We think that's the responsible way to handle a project of this magnitude. The other aspects of the development agreement, which includes things like the community benefits, infrastructure, any public-private partnership that would come from that, would be negotiated in 2019.
So, let me ask again, when do you need to know what's this going to cost, and if it's all on you guys, how much it's going to cost?
Well, we're in the process with our design team evaluating the cost of the entire project, whether it's infrastructure, the ballpark, the other development. So that's actually happening right now. The important step in terms of making sure we can proceed and break ground is getting the California Environmental Quality Act done, obviously extending our arrangements and our agreements with the community around community benefits and developing this development agreement with the city that encompasses that and any infrastructure necessary for the project. So that would be the next step there.
Okay. But there's no sort of rough date in mind as to when you will find out or we will find out how much this is all going to cost.
Do you mean for, well, I mean, it's going to obviously be privately financed.
Let's start
Yeah.
with the stadium, and
Yeah.
let's go to the Coliseum. When are you going to know how much this is costing? And
Well, it's our commitment to privately finance the stadium and the project. There could be a public-private partnership on some of the infrastructure, but those are the key aspects to the financing plan that we're putting forward.
So along those same lines, do you have a, excuse the pun, but ballpark figure of, is this a $1 billion project at Howard Terminal? Is this a $3 billion project between the two sites or what? And then what is the role of a private developer in this? How much of the project, of each of these projects, does a private developer such as like a Strata take on for you, who I know, Strata's been a consultant for you guys in this project. And then finally, Mayor and other folks from the city and county, is which one of these deals is a priority at the Coliseum? Is it a city-county deal that's the priority, or a county A's deal that's a priority? Sorry for the multiple phrase question.
Do you want to start with that?
Sure.
Thank you.
It is my hope that we have a city-county deal, and then we can sit down as a single owner to work out a deal with the A's. This is an incredibly valuable piece of public land that is so transit-rich that we are going to work. I'm very optimistic about our partnership in really creating something that is community-serving. And I'm optimistic because the A's are not just a commercial enterprise, they are a community enterprise. They are rooted in this community, have been for a long time, and I know that they understand Oakland's values. And if they plan to be a welcomed member of this community for generations to come, which has been their demonstrated intention with this current team that is in place, I'm very optimistic. And I will say one thing that excites me about both of the proposals is the attention to environmental stewardship. This rooftop deck along the Jewel Box ballpark, the attention to how we adapt to anticipated sea level rise in the Coliseum area in a way that would benefit that entire section of the city. Those are really important features of both of these proposals that make me feel like the A's have been listening to what Oakland values are.
And let me just also let me answer the question about the from the county's perspective. The Board of Supervisors, our commitment is that the A's stay in Oakland. If they don't stay in Oakland, Alameda County, obviously, but the Board of Supervisors are looking to try to make sure that the A's stay in Oakland. So we're working on two paths. We've been working on a path to sell our interest in the property for years, and we haven't succeeded in doing that. So if we're capable of succeeding with a deal with the city to buy out our interest, that'll be the path we'll pursue. If we're successful in the A's buying out our interest, we'll pursue that path. But the bottom line is whatever path we pursue, it's to keep the A's in Oakland. That is fundamental what we're looking to achieve.
And in terms of the project itself, it's going to have many partners beyond us in order to develop, both of these sites. How that actually manifests itself, who all the people are, that's not determined yet. It's kind of too early, but that is something that will come out over the course of 2019 and beyond.
I get you to say a ballpark.
Right now, obviously we're evaluating the costs of the project, and depending on the CEQA process and what's entitled and the development agreement, those numbers could change.
We have 4 more questions.
Yeah. I Jeff Shuttleworth for Larry Reed. Larry, obviously, been representing East Oakland for a long time. You've been involved in supporting the sports teams all these years. What do you think about the prospect of the A's moving, no longer playing at the Coliseum and playing downtown or near Jack London Square? What, you know, as somebody, a big supporter of East Oakland, what are your thoughts about this?
I think the A's really understand my position, but more paramount is that the A's stay here in the city, and I've said that in the past. So wherever the A's want to play and build their stadium, I'm in full support of it. I think there is an opportunity to do something really special with that land where the Coliseum presently exists that can really change a community that has long needed to be changed. And so whether or not there is a baseball stadium there or not, what the A's have been in conversations with myself and the city and the county about their vision, and the community meetings that they have been holding on a regular basis in my district and in Council District 3 have allowed the community to have a voice in determining how that 100+ acres should look in the future.
So would the Coliseum have been your first choice, or?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
It would have been,
Yeah.
because you have all the transportation infrastructure that's in place. But, you know, for me, it is about keeping this incredible sports franchise here in the city. We've had two others that chose to want an address in San Francisco, and the other want to have an address in Las Vegas. And so the A's have clearly demonstrated their commitment to the city, and certainly to the residents, the 78,000 residents that I represent around that Coliseum Sports Complex. So I wholeheartedly support the vision that Dave has articulated, and I can't wait until the shovel go in the ground and you actually begin to see that new baseball-only stadium going up in Howard Street Terminal, and at the same time see the transformation of 100 and some odd acres out in what I call Deep East Oakland. And I think it will instill an incredible sense of pride for the residents, not just in Oakland, but particularly in the area that I represent. I don't know if most of you know, when I ran 20 some odd years ago, the district in which I represent was called the Killing Fields. I had more homicides of young African Americans in my district than any place else in the city. Well, we've saw a sharp decline in those homicides. So it's not called the Killing Fields anymore, because people have a sense of hope, and they want to see that part of their district to continue to transform. And with the A's vision for that 100+ odd acres, you will see that transformation. You will see the kind of jobs that I think the residents in this city is entitled to, and just be a great place for people to go with their families and just really have a great time.
Dave, hearing what Libby and Larry just said, how much of a priority was doing something very big at the Coliseum site? And also, what are some of the challenges, both you and Libby, that logistically that this site presents in terms of parking and people getting in there? And, you know, this is a congested area as well.
Well, certainly transportation is been a big concern at the Howard site, and we have a multifaceted approach to addressing that. One facet, as people know, is potentially the gondola, the aerial tram, which is something we are including in the CEQA process that starts on Friday. So we're going to analyze that and get that project cleared through the process, which I think is very important. And so we're going to continue to work with the community, with our transportation task force, to make sure we have a plan for ingress and egress that works for everyone involved. And I think on the Coliseum side, you know, we met with 500 different members of the community, 78 different local organizations. We had workshops, we had salons on targeted areas, whether it was jobs, housing, environmental justice. And we heard from so many people in East Oakland, Larry and I co-hosted all these events, that people want to have pride in what's at the Coliseum site, ballpark or no ballpark. And we felt that we could be part of that solution and that forward-thinking plan, and we hope to work together to achieve that.
Hi, I'm Malika Bobino, Post News Group, aka Oakland Post. I wanted Larry and Dave to elaborate a little bit more on just your vision at the Coliseum site, because as a native, that area has lacked so much. One, grocery stores, healthy eating.
Two grocery stores.
Two grocery stores. Well, in that area that would be frequent for those people to attend. Can you just elaborate and give more detail on what they can expect to have hope in that area?
Well, I think the residents of my district certainly have hope. I mean, one only has to reflect back 20 years ago before I came on the city council. You only had one grocery store to shut down, and their rationale for closing down was they didn't know how to market to the African American community, and then subsequently the growth of the Latino community that are in my district. So we have two. We have Food Max at Durant Square, and then we have Foodsco, which is a subsidiary of Kroger's, which is the largest operator of grocery stores. 80,000 square foot grocery store servicing the community. You got a Wells Fargo bank. Well, it's coming soon at Oakland Naval Hospital. You may have a Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or either Sprouts. They're all been in discussion with the developers of Oakland Naval Hospital, which is 915 units, 915 brand new homes, 80-some thousand square foot of retail, and part of that retail will be either Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or Sprouts, and 75 acres of open space. And you will continue to see the district I represent. We've built more affordable housing in my district than any place else in the city of Oakland, and you will continue to see additional affordable housing being built for residents who live here in Oakland who want to stay here. We just broke ground on 321 units of affordable senior housing up on 105th. You know, they're starting to demolish that site. You got the BRT system that's in place that's will be completed by December of next year. We've got other retailers that are looking. We've got one hotel that's under construction on Hagenberger with a third, since there's a shortage of hotel accommodation. So East Oakland has a sense of hope. You know, like I said, we've lowered the crime rate out in deep East Oakland, and we're building affordable housing. In the next 20 years, you won't even know East Oakland. I always tell people, you see what they're doing at the Oakland Army Base, creating, you know, high-paying jobs. Then you've got all the economic development that are taking place in downtown Oakland and down here on Embarcadero on the port property, filling in the middle. And now with this incredible new baseball-only stadium going on, and then the only other place outside of downtown Oakland and Jack London Square for economic development is in the district that I represent. The port is looking at possible expanding, building a third terminal, building new hotels, new retail. So I am really excited. We've got 4 new car dealerships. We've got our own little small auto mall. We have interest by other auto dealerships creating jobs for Oakland residents, and particularly East Oakland. So there's some sense of hope, and like there is change that are going on in East Oakland will continue. 10 years, 20 years from now, you won't even know deep East Oakland once that Coliseum vision that the A's have articulated what they want for that 100-some-odd acres is going to do for that community. And so you will have filled in the middle, the west, and the east, and you will change the city for a lifetime.
One of the priorities what the Walmart was? The Walmart was? Is that one of the priorities as well? It's a lot of open space.
There is a major hotel operator that's interested in taking part of Walmart, as well as a car dealership that the city doesn't presently have, that's looking at the possibility of taking the other portion of that old Walmart site.
Thanks. To the mayor and Larry, some of your county colleagues have questioned whether the city has the finances to actually buy out their stake in the Coliseum. So do you, and would the land deal at the Coliseum be a full-on sale to the team, or would it be sort of a long-term lease? That's question 1. And then question 2 to Dave and possibly Sess. Can you talk a little bit about how this rollout and this preparation has been different than that of Laney College months ago? Have you had direct conversations with the industrial neighbors who've raised concerns at the port?
I can start. So we have identified the financing structure to buy the county out. And so that is absolutely something that is feasible and is in the works. What was the second part of your question, Kimberly? We have not gotten that far. Part of the ENA process is discussing lease versus ownership versus a combination. So those will all be discussed as part of the negotiation process.
And then as it relates to, the difference between Peralta and Deep East Oakland, the district in which I represent that the Coliseum sit in, is I wish all of you could have attended the meetings that the A's and myself hosted, well attended by residents that live in the neighborhood and talking about what they would like to see happen. The difference is that Peralta folks didn't want it. Deep East Oakland, we want the vision at that Coliseum that the A's have articulated to happen.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there was one final piece on Howard, and Seth can comment as well. Yes, we've had outreach to all the stakeholder groups and the maritime and the port folks in and around Howard Terminal. We've had in-depth conversations with them. We've hosted salons on different items, whether it's environmental justice, making sure that the seaport has a bright future. And I think it's important. We learned from the Peralta experience how important that was. We've had a great partner in the port, and they've taken a leadership role with us in order to convene the people to have these in-depth conversations. And we'll obviously continue that as we move forward with the option agreement.
That's the main thing. The difference is that we're working with the A's to try to come up with a solution that's good for the A's, the community, and the Port of Oakland. We know that our first priority is for the port itself, but we got an opportunity here with the help of the A's and the city and the county to do something special for the city of Oakland as well. So we're working with them as hard as we can and as quickly as we can to finish the ENA and get it in a proper perspective.
And let me just make one final comment. I truly appreciate my colleague, Supervisor Nate Milan. He's the chair of the Joint Powers Authority that oversees the Coliseum. I'm the vice chair. We rotate every 2 years. I appreciate his leadership on the Board of Supervisors and others on the Board of Supervisors helping us to move in the right direction to make this become a reality, something that we all can be proud of. And be able to stand back and say, the legacy we leave is one that our children that's following us will be proud.
That's right.
That there was this incredible group of individuals, this team, the A's team, the Ports team, the city team, the Board of Supervisors team, that we all came together, was on one page in moving this vision forward.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. We have copies of the press release. We also have a progress report to detail how we have gotten to this point. It has a lot of information about our community engagement that Dave was talking about as well. We will do, Dave is available for one-on-ones as well. Yes, Erica has to.